they put it out in the real world. So let me see.
And then what happens is everybody's watching us, so we can't F and Jeff and talk about
I know.
people the way we normally do. You know,
Where did my Belfast Whiskey Week top go? I did get one.
maybe
Is that a new one?
No.
I wonder where mine went. I can't find one of my shirts, by the way. I can't find my safari shirt.
One thing I'm definitely sure of is I don't have it. I wouldn't have the room in my house, to be honest, to put it in.
I don't know where it is. But you know, my tan safari shirt, can't find it.
Funny enough, I'm not really au fait with your wardrobe. I know. Don't know why.
You've stopped wearing the same jumper every week, you see, so people can't keep track of it. I don't know what this thing's doing at Speech Ball, and I can't stop it until it stops. What are they saying? We're live. They're all saying we're live, but I can't see them.
All right, hang on. What's going on here? Oh, hang on. Open my phone up with something else.
Right.
I'm getting messages.
No, I can't see any of the messages. Folks, I know we're live, but this thing is beach ball at my end, so I can't actually do anything because it isn't working. So I want to see you all and what you're saying tonight, what you're drinking, what you're doing, what you're looking forward to.
Well, you know something that does work. Just whenever I have it here. I noticed this earlier on. You know our friends down at the Mickle Distillery?
Yes.
Well, Gordon Ramsay must have been down a run. So there's our porrick.
Whoa.
On chatting.
Very good.
So he's on with Gordon Ramsay.
I didn't see that at all.
Oh no, I know it's on that tomorrow. This is a wee preview of it.
Right.
So it is. He's on. Gordon Ramsay's on on tomorrow with him.
So unfortunately, we can't start your broadcast. So I'm going to hit start. We're going to get the 3, 2, 1, and we're going to go live. 3, 2, 1. 3. Here we go. We're live. We've been live. You're back in the room. Welcome to Irish Whiskey Review. We're live Saturday night, 10 p.m. as usual. We're talking. What are we talking about today? Lambay Boann.
We've got talking about a whole pile of different stuff.
All right.
So we are. We'll be chatting about loads of stuff. But anyone who didn't see that, if you're watching National Geographic tomorrow, the guys down at the Mickle Distillery are getting interviewed by Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay cutting Pete. So yes, be interesting. So I must watch that tomorrow. Actually, be interested in that. Nice bit of advertising for them, you know.
Yeah,
but yeah,
Ramsay, National Geographic. That'll be hot off the shelves all across the states. Then, won't it?
No, it's National Geographic UK. So, but I imagine it'll probably go across there as well. You know. So no, good on them. That's. It's only whenever you do a job like ours you realise just how big Gordon Ramsay is. You know, whenever you're talking to. Everybody knows who he is. Everybody.
Well, you know? I wonder, does everybody know who this guy is? He's coming on later to talk to us, but we're going to talk to him now for a minute. Oh, look who it is. Look who it is.
Well, how are you getting on?
Superb, thank you very much.
Are we going green this year away from the pink?
Going green.
Going green. Keep Greta Thunberg happy. Everybody has to do that these days. You don't want Greta coming and giving it off to us, so everybody has to go green.
Purely sustainable.
How's the form?
Absolutely brilliant. Yes, really good. Today was good fun. I had a very busy today, and I'm just glad we're getting on. And I've got some whiskey with me. So
yay, excellent. No,
you weren't at the caravan enjoying the weather today. Then you were busy, were you?
Yeah, not today. A couple of the kids had Gaelic matches, and then there was a little event in town, and then I was out just handing out some leaflets for the festival. So no, busy. No caravan next weekend maybe.
No, I was quiet today, but you know, one of those days when you're getting caught up with all the domestic shit, you know, all the stuff that you haven't got done because you've been actually busy all week. So one of those days I was running around and had to go and see my aunt and all that kind of stuff. And I'm actually, if you hear the sound of footsteps, I'm looking after my friend's dog. I say dog, it's a wee pug. So if she comes over, she'll walk from the other side of the room to here, and then you'll hear her snorting and panting because she's like a wee fat pug. So if you hear something in the background, that's what it is. She's a wee cute thing. She is dead cute, but she's not the most energetic in the world. You know?
Now you know what happened to Ethel's dog from EastEnders after Ethel passed
Ah!
away. The dog is living in retirement in Glenarm.
Into Glenarm, why?
Yeah.
My mate Joanne must have adopted it, but no, she's lying over here. She sort of hears me talking to me, eye opens like this, and then she just falls back asleep again. That's just all she does. So I took her for a walk earlier on, and she was all enthusiastic. You left the lead. She's like, yeah. And then by the time you actually get probably to the bottom of the steps of my house, she's like, and you just see her. She looks up at you as if to say, "I fucking hate you." You know,
That sounds like me going for a walk.
pretty much not far away from the same sort of thing, yeah. Except she doesn't nearly break down and cry the way you do.
I know, because we have to pass a restaurant in the way. That's the most important thing.
And she keeps up with me as well.
Right.
That's another thing. What are you on tonight? What are you drinking tonight?
I'm just on a Dunville. Sorry, I'm on the
Aye.
1652.
Oh, it's lovely.
PX.
It's lovely.
I mean, so 20 years old. This was a really good bottle for Belfast Whiskey Week at one point. So,
yeah. I think I maybe have one of those lurking about in a corner somewhere in the reaches of the house here somewhere. I think it's maybe upstairs actually. But it is. I mean, come on. They do, whenever they're doing it right, they do it right. You know, there's no two ways about it. It's super stuff.
They're smart. They're smart people. They make some good choices with their casks.
What did you think of that launch the other week, Paul?
Do you know what? Was I blown away? Look, I've been lucky. I've been at a couple of launches, and we've launched a couple of whiskies during the festival as well. We've done that, and that's been really interesting. And do you know what? I can compare it to, I was with and I know that we're going to say it's a brand, but I was with Michael Flatley in his launch down in Dublin, and it was. You know what? It was a theatrical experience. You know, they had they had music. You know, they had song, dance. You know, whiskey, cocktails, canopies. But let's be honest. Ecklinville pulling out a tank, a theatrical experience. You know, and again, to live in that little moment of history is really interesting. I just think it's a really nice, interesting. If you're an enthusiast, if you're a whiskey enthusiast, to be in that little moment of history, that was superb. I thought they did it really well. I was quite blown away. And the whiskies taste good as well. Those two, there were two comparables. There were two comparable whiskies, which was really interesting. And I thought, do you know what? They did really well. Yeah. And by the way, price point was good, and I believe they sold it very quickly. I hope to God people open them and drink them, and I know that people will just keep them and collect them. I know that.
I always say the same thing, Paul. You've heard me say this before. First release bottles should be presented for collection. That's because collectors want to do that, and they want to have that statement piece. So what they charge for the first one, it's not really that big a deal. You know, do it right, sell it, present it well, and sell it. It's the second one that's the important one. It's the second release, what you're going to do. Then you know roughly what price points is, what the quality is going to be heading forward, and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, it's in terms of presentation, it's beautiful.
Beautiful. For those that haven't seen it, chunky big box, 2 bottles inside of it. You know, and okay, they're 500ml bottles. It was 350 sterling, I believe. Yeah. You know, and that to me is on the money for a new release, because you're getting the 2 bottles. But you're getting 7 years old on the label on both of them. I thought that was really spectacular, because they could have gone non-age statement. They could have, maybe pushed it because they've got liquid which is
they must have
older than that.
They must have an 11-year-old now, haven't they?
Yeah, I thought having a 7 and a 7 next to each other in the box. Yeah, it looked historically fitting, because you kind of think of Irish whiskey and the IDLs of the world won't really appreciate this, but 7-year-old was the trigger point, the kind of the leveling of Irish.
There wasn't a drop sold.
100%. And I thought it was quite nifty what they did there. No, for people, if people have missed out on that, I kind of feel sad. But what the positive from it, this is the positive, is that you're going to see the pot still going into the old cumber, and it's tremendous. And you're going to see probably a later release, and I would say maybe not even until next year, another single malt. So there's a lot to come from those guys.
But those guys have built up such a good reputation, so much goodwill They do. I mean, there was a bit of criticism of them when they were releasing all the single cask stuff, and people couldn't sort of keep up. And it was, and I kind of get that because guys just want to collect. I mean, there's people who don't necessarily drink a huge amount; they want to collect, and they just couldn't keep up. But that's not really Dunville's fault. It's not really something you have to take into consideration a huge amount, you know.
Marty, do you know it's really? I thought this is an argument which I think really everyone needs to get in their head, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're like me and you're a collector and a drinker and an enthusiast, right? If you're that person, then and that's just one. Let's imagine the single casks are what 250 give or take approximate bottles, 250, 300, 250, 300, right? Well, if there's only 250 to 300 people collecting it, then I mean that's easy. We'll just every cask that comes out, the collectors will get it, and that's it. But what I think that likes the Dunvilles needs to do, and with the same argument with the Causeway collection with the Bush Mills, let's be honest. You want more than 250, 300 people buying into your product. You want to see lots more people. So that argument with the MVR from from Biddleton,
because it sort of went the other way now. It's went a bit.
thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of bottles and thousands of people buying it. Maybe speculatively, maybe for drinking purposes. But you know what? I think we need to get away from this idea that you have to collect everything, that you have to collect them all. I would like to think that people buy, and do you know what? This range, I mean, this range of the Dunville, do you know what? Even if you got one bottle of that, Jesus Christ, you're winning. You're freaking winning.
Absolutely. I have a bottle opening there somewhere, and I maybe just left it out in a wee second.
A 12-year-old, a 21-year-old, a 16-year-old, whatever age bracket you can get, whatever one that is the right price point for you, get one, because it fucking tastes amazing.
When you were talking about volume there, you made me think of another distillery that had the drop-down box open for Northern Ireland, 10,000 bottles, and then he realised there was another 40,000 bottles needed for Southern Ireland. He got the shock of his life. That's a fantastic story. But you're right, you need the volume to get people interested and engaged in the product, Paul.
Absolutely. I think the thing is, if you can tick the boxes for both, you're doing really well. And I think Dunvilles have kind of done that really well. They've done, if you really want to collect the stuff, there's plenty to collect.
Yeah.
If you really want to just enjoy the 12 or the 10, the occasional different, Palo Cortado, a PX, whatever, they've sort of ticked a lot of boxes for everything. And the bottles look amazing. They're nice guys. The location's great. There's not a lot to dislike about it, Let's be honest.
No, definitely not. And I think that you talk about location. I mean, it is it's an hour away from Belfast. So it's an hour away from the city centre. And, if you want to take that bus trip down there, you're going to be, you're going to get something for it. You're going to get something for your money. I do think that if you're going to make the effort, you're going to get something from it because, it's glamorous. It's, it is lovely. It's got this beautiful setting. You can walk around the grounds. You can go into the distillery. Everyone who works there is part of the community. It's part of the
team.
But they're all from 90% of that workforce are from, a 10 to 20 mile radius. I mean, of site. And that's pretty impressive.
And let's be honest, it's not
where they're from.
It's not the hardest drive in the world. It's a lovely, beautiful down beside the loch and all. It's nice. It's really cool.
No, it's good. It's a good drive down. But I think we're so young as an industry in the north specifically. Obviously, Bushmills has been the go-to point if you're going to go to a distillery for a long time. But I think we're so young and having so many of these new distilleries and look, right round the corner you've got Hinch Distillery. Right round the corner you've got Copeland Distillery. You've got Shortcross. You go down the road, you've then got you've got Cologne, and then in Belfast, Morndew, of course, and then you've got in the city Titanic, McConnell's, and other ones that are going to start springing up. With the Glens of Antrim and Lambay Boann. My thing is this: I think we're so young.
Yeah,
it's going to be, years down the line when we're going to see people making the pilgrimage, just like they make the pilgrimage to Speyside, or you make the pilgrimage to go to Islay, or you make the pilgrimage to go around, the Highlands. Because, to be honest, every person I give Dunville's whiskey to, falls in love with it. There's not one person that goes, that's bad liquid. That's
I've
crap.
had a brainwave. Do you know the
Uh-oh.
way they have that wine fountain in the Camino in Spain and Portugal? Why don't we have a whiskey fountain? Like, it has to be in the middle of nowhere, and the whiskey's just coming out like a chocolate fountain.
I think,
and you would get hundreds of people walking there just to get it.
But like this, there wouldn't be any. We don't need for tourists. No, all you would have is one delivery of food every day, and the whole place covered, and locals all pissed out of their heads. That's
No.
When people go in the religious pilgrimage,
you would have to ping a foreign passport to get the stuff. Irish and British passports.
So then what you need is about 400 security guards fully armed to the teeth and licensed to kill to stop the natives from drinking it dry.
It works in Spain.
You get a pump up a Scrabble Tower or up the Mourns or something.
Aye.
People just going for a wee walk. Lads.
Happy days. I went to Spain one time in Michelin, and it was about, I think, somewhere like about 140 million degrees centigrade. Sweat was running off me, and I was sitting in the hang. I was just sitting like that. This boy walked by with 2 bottles of Heineken with the condensation running down the side of them. And it was like, one of them adverts, like, stop him. What the fuck? Where'd you get him? He just pointed around the corner. There was a vending machine that sold beer in the factory, right? 50 cents. You get 2 bottles of beer for €1.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, man. The 2 of them never hit the side. I says, well, you don't have that back home. Honestly.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine going to a hotel? This is the dream, though. The dream is quite simple. The dream is going to a hotel anywhere and rocking up and seeing a vending machine with cans of 2 stacks.
Oh, wow, that'd be cool.
You go in, you've got you're in Dallas, and you're like, listen, need a wee drink tonight. There's a freaking vending machine in my hotel. Walk up, cha-ching. I'll take 5 cans. You're fucking flying, like.
Happy days. Yeah. That's what I just have that sitting in a hand. The Dag de Zoets one.
The cans are all over the place, aren't they?
Oh, right.
You can get them in the supermarkets now. But I'm looking forward to this year because this will be the first time we've got a 2 stacks offering at the festival. So we have our own dram in a can.
Your own dram in a can.
Our own dram in a can. It's quite special. We're not going to talk about it too much, but we have a dram in a can, and it should be pretty cool. I'm actually looking forward to this one. The guys have picked something really nice, and I know that Johnny and Stuart went out and did some tasting for us to make sure it was the great stuff that they have.
Aye.
I'm looking forward.
Top drawer.
Top drawer. Yeah.
We're going to do a wee bit of news. Give us a few minutes. Run through the news. Have a drink, and we'll get back to you in a wee minute, Paul. All right.
So, speak to you soon. We're head yet in the green room with your green top.
Now, I'm going to have a wee drink of this. I got this during the week.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Liberator, the Reeks, the big gun edition. Guns out. I've had a wee sip of this week. Got it on Monday or whatever it was, and it's just great stuff. I like Morris's stuff. I just like the Liberator. Anyway, reminder: Thursday night over in Hearth, up in the tasting room, we're doing a bit of a show. Me and a friend of mine, Kieran, got the 4 spirits down. It's not all whiskies. First one up will be this wonderful product, Short Cross Poitín. Tell you all about it when you come down, and that'll be the first drink. Second one, Ardnahoe, the inaugural release from the newest of the Isla distilleries. We'll be getting that cracked open. Then we will have a bourbon. I have a bourbon here. It's not this one. The one that I've ordered actually was supposed to be delivered today, but I slept in, so I never got it. So it's coming on Monday. 1792 bourbon, and then the Irish whiskey will be Sam's Pure Irish over in the tasting room. So if you're free Thursday night, pop along. Tickets are £30 plus the booking fee, but come along and it'll be a nice night. So Kieran will play some music, these whiskies will tell a wee story, so on and so forth.
And it's in Glider Route 1, so it's dead easy to get to.
It's dead easy.
On the glider,
it's really nice. It's a really nice spot. And Sam's, if you haven't met Sam, somebody rung me this week to tell me that I was talking to a guy up in Belfast, blah 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 blah. Sam McDonald. I says, I was talking to him yesterday. I says, oh, I know, I was talking to him yesterday. I says, oh, I know, I was talking to him yesterday. I says, oh, I know, I was talking to him yesterday. I says, oh, I know, I was talking to him yesterday. I says, oh, I know, I was talking to him yesterday. I says, oh, I know, I was talking to him yesterday. Oh, right. And then he said that he had news to tell me, but I says, I'm one step ahead of you. I've already heard. So, yeah. But if you're free, pop along and we'll have a bit of crack as well.
Good.
So, we had a tasting last night in the Go Sun, which went really well. It was quite nice. There's only about 25 people or something there. So, just a nice small tasting up there. But yeah, a nice night there as well. Now, big news this week. Lambay, down just an island that's just off the coast of Dublin. It's just a little bit east and up, northeast of Dublin. You've had their whiskey out, so you can see the Lambay Island there. Just is northeast of Dublin, just up near again, not far away from Malahide. So yeah, they put in an application. They are having their own distillery. Now they have a whiskey out, it's sourced, and what they've been doing is cognac cask whiskies. They've been sourcing their whiskey, sourcing their spirit, and they've been tied up with Camus, the cognac guys. So they're going to build their own distillery. It's going to be offshore, and they say off grid. I'm not 100% sure how they're powering it. Probably wind, I would have thought.
Wow, it looks like Craggy Island.
Yeah, it's probably it. There'll be a weird priest running about it, I'm sure. What there is, there's loads of little wallabies, because one of the people who own it imported wallabies, and they've been breeding on it and leaping about and getting on. So yeah,
that's one of them. They're real.
Oh, there was a couple 100 of them floating about on it, apparently. The island's actually owned by the Baring family. You know Baring's Bank that Nick Leeson fapped up?
Yes.
Well, that's who owns the island. They've had it for over 100 years now.
Okay.
And I think they wanted to generate some revenue from it, so they've had the whiskey out, and now they are getting a small distillery, a small craft distillery. The castle's on it, and the castle's been there a while because there's a lot of history behind the whole island. It was used as like an internment place by King Billy, and there was a whole thing. The castle was renovated by Sir Edwin Lutyens, who did the Cenotaph in London. Right. So it was who done the work on it, and I was read that up a little bit. So yeah, that's a nice little distillery. That'll be a nice place to go, I think. That'll just be a.
How do you get there? Where do you get the boat from? Malahide?
I assume there must be a wee ferry running across to it. But as the distillery's up and the tourist product becomes a bit more known, then you'll find out dead handy how to get to it. But yeah, that'll be a nice day out because it's got loads of wildlife. It's one of the biggest bird colonies in the whole of Ireland. So yeah, that'll be a nice day out, I think. I'm looking forward to seeing that one actually, because it's in a little small barn. I think I sent you a photo of the little barn that it's in.
Maybe you did, but they all didn't work. So I had to get the gully mutts myself. That's
gully mutts.
That's not the gilly mutt you sent me. That's a different gilly mutt.
Oh,
can you not tell? Well, because your gilly mutt was flying and that gilly mutt's sitting.
Terrible.
Yeah, I know.
Terrible. How will I love with myself?
I know.
Anyway, so that's big news for them. So that'll be a nice place. That's going to be open up by the end of the year. Apparently, they're going to have the distillery up and running by the end of the year. It's tiny. It's going to be a tiny little thing.
It's a boutique one, isn't it? Then
It's a micro distillery, but that'll be a nice one to pop over and have a look at.
Yeah,
but
I'll hop along in a minute. Sorry. Okay. All right. Bye-bye, Wallaby.
Big news this week was Boann. Boann have released their first pot still. And what they've done, they've kind of went, well, kind of the opposite of the likes of Dunville's. They brought out 3 in one go, 3 different pot stills, a Madeira, a PX, and a Marsala. All at once, and there's like 12,000 cases or something. And the press release they sent out is like 12,000 cases of this. There's no shortage of it. You don't need to panic buy and collect. There's a lot of this, but they've been doing a lot of good stuff, Boann. Let's be honest. I mean, the tie up the had with Fanon, that in a few years' time, that's going to be one of the big projects. That's going to be something amazing that's coming down the line. Bottle wise, it's 70 euros a bottle and 47% ABV. So yeah, it's good on them. I think that's great releases. They've had a couple out that were sourced that I just didn't take to at all. They had a stout cast Whistler that came out at a time and it was not good. But loads of other stuff that they've brought out has been fantastic. And I think it's a good thing in some ways. In some ways, I'd say it's a bad thing because it sort of leaps up and down. But while they do and get their own product out and get this is what we're going to do, this is where we're going.
How do they differ, those pot stills, Marty? Because they're slightly different color. What's the difference between them then? The casking, really, is that it? Yes.
Well, the casking, does it say their natural color on them? I don't know whether they're natural color or not. But
one's a goldy hue, one's a greeny hue, and the other's a grey hue.
I would imagine if there's 12,000 cases of it out, it'll have a touch of colouring to standardise it. I would think. Yeah, I would imagine that's probably a little bit of that. But yeah, so look forward to trying them. Good on them. Nice price point and nice differences. So we'll see what they're like when we get them.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah, lovely. I got an article last week. I read an article on MSN. Is whiskey healthy? 6 purported health benefits of your favourite spirit. Right. In October, Evelyn Hickman, a woman who lived through World War II, turned 100 years old. What was her secret to longevity? Junk food and whiskey, she claimed. Anyway, if you go down the list, have you got it there?
I have, yeah. There's hope for me yet then if junk food and whiskey makes you live long.
Oh, I think I could live forever. So it goes down here. It tells you whiskey contains chemical that fights off cardiovascular and other diseases. Who knew? According to the University of Virginia.
Believe it or not, my grandest doctor, once he had a heart attack, actually said that to him.
I drank whiskey.
And that was in 1983. Thins the blood. That's what he said.
Well, polyphenols may fight diabetes and cardiovascular. So if you're diabetic, like yourself, Justin, whip on the old whiskey, boy. Get on it. Mm-hmm. Neat whiskey is a diet-friendly drink. The spirit is naturally carb-free, sugar-free, and gluten-free. Mm-hmm. So what more do you want? Mm-hmm. Next one down. Whiskey can help with congestion. So if you have a touch of the cold, the beverage is typically a mixture of tea. What you can get is a hot toddy, mixture of tea, lemon, and whiskey. Other ingredients: ginger, peppermint, and apple, or cider vinegar. You go down there, and it helps congestion. Whiskey could reduce the risk of dementia. Now, this one I have a little bit of debate with because there's been a few nights, probably more than a few, where I've had a skinful and I can't remember fuck all.
Well,
right?
I'm the same, but my granny, I'm convinced when she stopped taking Cinzano at night, her dementia got worse. But there you
go. Well, that could be it. Maybe everything in moderation, Eric. I think everything in moderation is what we're talking here. The key word here is moderate. Any amount of alcohol could significantly increase one's risk of dementia. But if you keep it at a small amount, you could be doing all right. Whiskey could reduce the risk of heart failure. So there you go. Whiskey could contribute to longevity.
We've had long livers in this show.
We try and find as many long livers as possible. There's no hard data to support this conclusion. The media continues to report on multiple centenarians touting alcohol as a secret to a long life. Grace Jones died 113 and attributed her long life to whiskey and what was known as to have a famous grouse single malt every evening for 62 years. So, from now on, nobody can tell me I have science to back me up that whiskey keeps me young and healthy. Even though I'm 77 years of age, you know? But yeah, so go on ahead, have a read through that article because it's actually really quite interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there it is. There.
Good stuff. And then, last but not least, we have a distillery seal. The Lex Distillery. I'm sort of surprised that this gets sold as quick, but the Lex Distillery over the Lake District has been bought up by Nye Timber Wines and Spirits Group in a deal worth 76 million. 71 million, sorry. The takeover deal values Lakes Distillery's share capital at £46.1 million. The one line that did catch me a little bit off was James Pennyfeather, the Lakes CEO, said, "The board is enthusiastic about its ambitious new 10-year plan to achieve a 1% share of the global luxury dark spirits market by 2030. Now, let's think about this in a logical plan. 1% share of the luxury dark spirits. Now, dark spirits is whiskey, it's rum, it's cognac, Armagnac, brandy, añejo tequilas, aged tequilas, and you're wanting a 1% share of that. They're one little distillery in England, and I don't really understand. That means, just to put it in context, that 1 in every 100 bottles of this, of the luxury spirits, but they deem the luxury, probably £100 plus bottles. That's roughly a lot of the time what they're talking about. And they think they're going to get 1% share of that, and within the next 6 years. No, let's be honest. Which kind of leads me to think someone has just paid 70 plus million for this, and that's what they're saying. It just doesn't take any rhyme or reason to that at all. A 1% share. So for every bottle of Hennessy, for every bottle of Macallan, for every bottle of Don Jose Añejo tequilas, for every cognac, every Armagnac, they're going to, for every 100 bottle, every 99 bottles of that, they're going to sell one for all of them. I think they may need to revise that. As if would be my thoughts on that.
Who knows? Aim high, and you might reach there.
Yeah. Nah, we'll just take that with a pinch of salt. Methinks. But anyway, that is this week's news. Oh, I bought this, by the way. I bought this week. I left it this week. This is one of these pre-done tasting journals where you can put tasting notes. It's got a wee thing in the back for colour, all this stuff in it. I bought it. It was like £4 or something off Amazon. So I bought it just for the crack. It looks pretty good. Anyway, we'll get chatting to Paul again. Whew.
You're back in the room, Paul. What did you make of all that news this week?
Oh, we've lost the volume. I've
unmuted you.
Sorry, I'm just...
There we go. No, it's unmuted. There you go.
Well, first of all, a pinch of salt with whiskey doesn't sound too good. So maybe a pinch of salt with the aged tequila.
Aye.
But look, 1%. That's an interesting.
It's ambitious.
But it's an interesting way to think about it. You know, I mean, if every whiskey distillery thought about 1% of the market, that'd be class. You know, if everyone thinks like that,
it's ambitious. If they said 1% of the UK.
Yeah.
That would still be ambitious.
If you guaranteed 1% of your English market to start with, that's you on the starting point. You can keep going from there.
That would be doable. That would be doable.
Oh, 100%, of course. Other news. I mean, loving the fact that Lambay is going to do something. You know, the Lambay, it's all cognac finishing. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. That could be cool. And the fact that it looks so microscopic.
It does. It's a wee barn that, you know, they're what they're going to be producing. I mean, let's be honest, 2 casks a week, couple of casks, you know, that's roughly. So you're talking tiny little distillery, but it's going to be in the nice location. It's a bit like, you know, like Edredur used to do up in Pitlochry. You go up there, gorgeous location. They made bugger all. There was like 2 guys made the whiskey and 6 tour guides.
They still do.
Yeah. The only thing is they don't let you in now. It's all keep out, get away, angry like, dog signs and all.
There's like 6 people working at the distillery. That's it. No, I think the Boann thing is really cool. I mean, let's be honest. Like Boann are like Boann are cool. They are cool distillery. I mean, if you've been to Boann, they've not started proper tours, but they're so welcoming. It's a welcoming family-run business,
Yeah.
and they're really nice people. And I like the fact that we've done work with them in the past.
Yeah.
We've been part of the projects that they've been involved in. So we're part of the Finon project. During the festival, we ran their the vintage mash bills, and we did that as part of the online sessions. And we've had our own bottle from them, a source whiskey, which was a peated cask strength bottle, which is class. But to see them coming out with their own liquids right now, I've tasted the run up to them. So the solstice bottles that they were doing, and these are, I think, the right price. I think that again, if we talk about price of where whiskey should be, they've done a Drumshambo. They've gone out with multiple bottles. So there is not a case of, if I don't get one, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
There's not like, if I get one, my son's not going to graduate from university. It's
affordable. It's affordable.
Yes.
It's different. I assume it's the same liquid that's been aged in the thing, so you can do a comparative tasting to see if you can get a bit of DNA or whatever. It's just a bit of fun as much as anything else.
I'd say so. Their cash management program's really good. So they've probably got it to a T, in terms of what the liquid is, what the mash bill has been the run through. I mean, what the biggest positive from Boann's going to be this, that they will run multiple types of pot still mash bills going forward. I mean, they have the variants, obviously thanks to Finan O'Connor, but obviously in turn thanks to themselves, because that was innovative, and they've got that chance to really showcase Irish whiskey. If it gets the technical file right, then it's pot still Irish whiskies, and they're going to be the leader. They will be the leader in pot still whiskey in Ireland, I think. Because when we look at all the other distilleries, some are single malt, some are mixed single malt, single pot stills, but how many are bending their back to solely do pot still?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think they will be the leaders. I mean, obviously, we talk about IDL as being the godfather of it all.
I mean,
but let's be honest. I mean, it's we all love Redbreast, and we genuinely all do love Redbreast and Jameson and the likes. But it's just to see another distillery.
But the thing is, I mean,
leading on it.
You take the Prelude and Cologne and stuff, and they do these really things, but they're doing it on a very small scale. They'll do one cask. They do one cask, and that's it. Boann's a big distillery, and for them to say, right, I'll tell you what, we'll do one with 15% oats, and we'll do it with 5% rye. We'll do it now, even though it's not PGA compliant. We'll do it now, and we'll get it. And that took balls. I'm balls and money as well to do. And when they turn around and they're putting down casks of stuff that. Certainly, hopefully going forward, they'll be PGA compliant. But they weren't.
They're so small. I mean, they're so small though. I mean, the thing with Cologne and Wales, particularly, they are so small. I mean, the production run is minute in comparison to Boann, and that's why I'm thinking the Boann project is really interesting. The capacity that they have, and they'll go to doubling capacity very soon. They will be a leader. They must be a leader, because there's no one else doing what they're going to be doing at that level.
No, and I think that at that level, I mean, they have. I don't know what their output or production would be, but it's not insignificant. They're a fairly large distillery.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. And again, when they get their act together and have like a visitor experience, people will be slightly impressed. I love it because it's just on the drive down. You head on down to Dublin. It's on the motorway, so you literally come off the junction. It's there on the junction, and you can go in. And as I say, the staff are friendly. Everyone down there. We've got some lovely guys. The Cooney family are great. Stephen Randalls is in there now. I miss Matt Healy from there, but I know he's moved on and done other things. But and Mihal's moved on as well. But the guys they have, I mean, the distillers they have are so passionate about it. And I've done some really good tastings with them, and I've had some really good whiskies with them, and I am buzzing for them to see the project come. Good news stories, positive news.
Those tasting boxes that they come out with the vintage mash bills.
Yeah,
I I think I had 5 of those. And I'll tell you why. Because one, I drunk the one that night that they did. And honestly, I thought that was one of the best night, because it was sort of in the middle of COVID, or the
Yep.
sort of, at the tail end of COVID type thing. And they brought out the box and you're going through it. And I think the tasting lasted about 3 hours online. And there was a really nice community of people there. Fanon was there doing Fanon things as he normally does. Matt Healy was talking away. And just the whole thing, it felt kind of exciting. And I thought to myself, when those casks come out, I want to have a box that I can take and go, right, what does that taste like now compared to what it was at the time? And I kind of think everybody else will be the same. So I know my girlfriend Julie, she got one. She's one over in Texas. And so because she's excited for it too. It's just the whole thing I thought was superb. And they have, I mean, they that took a lot of balls for them to accept to do that. It really did. And it'll pay them off. I think it'll really, really pay them off.
Oh, no, it will. And there's been, at the time, obviously, the community got the opportunity to purchase the casks that they were doing. And like I stepped up and asked people to kind of try to buy all 10, all 10 mash bills. And I think we're the only ones, other than people internally within the distillery, but we're the only people with all 10 mash bills across 10 separate casks. And the idea is that the people who help purchase that, we purchased off a certain amount of each cask to ensure that they're all going to get bottles from that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's in 5 years. We've still got 2 years to go, because they're over 3 years old now. But the idea is to do 3.5 years old nearly. But the idea is to do a little pack as soon as we can. And we're going to try and emulate that pack. So we'll have liquid which will be 3 to 4 years old in that pack. And people can then taste it at that point, the people who've bought into that program. And I think that's really interesting, because you will be able to compare the first set with the second set, and you'll see the difference the wood has made. You'll see the difference that the time has made on it as well. So no, I'm looking forward to them. I'm looking forward to bottling them. I mean, I want to bottle it 5 years, and I want to bottle the rest maybe closer to 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And I've got some really interesting design work going on with labels and stuff just now, and I want people to input into some of that. So there's a really core group of people who really helped to make sure that project came about. I mean, it was a big expense at the very start, but I think people understand that I did it. What's that word? As cooperatively as possible. Do you know what I mean?
Cooperatively as possible.
To make sure that people weren't getting ripped off and stuff. So I think we've got bottles at 23 quid a bottle. That kind of thing, rather than whatever people are paying these days for bottles. God love them.
Actually, I said that I wasn't going to buy an awful lot to make a bit more of a dent in this. I just thought, fuck, here we go. And just so I bought all the Boann ones. I bought 2 bottles of this, and I bought. It's just one of them things that's like.
These Boanns are cheap. These Boanns are not cheap. But it's the same. It's the same price as what a bottle I think should be. Now, the Short Cross have got the bottle price right. Releases directly from Cologne are the price are right. Maybe when it's going elsewhere. Some people might take.
Well, all I will say is, the friend at hand release of Cologne was £150 a bottle.
Oh, sure, you don't work there, do you?
No, I do. But anyway, I had somebody that come in and said, "This is ridiculous amount of fuck £150 for this. It's ridiculous." And he went on about and then on about, and then he turned around and he says, "I says, how many of them do you want?" He says, "I'll take 3."
I can imagine.
But I mean, and I don't blame anybody for making money. Fair enough.
No, and that's the thing. And that's the thing. What I'm saying is, when a distillery has the capacity to put the bottle out at their pricing and they want to sell it, I think when we look at it, the Boann price is right. Bushmills is right at the moment. Look at all those great Bushmills that are coming out. Really, the price points are really good.
But well, I know, Paul.
14-year-old whiskey, 15-year-old whiskey for 65 to 85 quid. I mean,
but come on, right? Hang on a minute. Hang on one wee second.
Oh, we're gonna come on.
Hang on.
Do it for me.
Because Bushmills have been doing, over the last sort of year, 18 months, they've been doing quintessentially Bushmills shit, right? Oh, yes, this is coming along. This is good. I dead on. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a nice bottle. The price goes up. What the fuck? Right. And then they bring out this, and the price goes back down again. It's 15-year-old Irish single malt, right? That's really pretty. Then they bring out another one. Then there's another one being released over here. Hang on here. Are these core release bottles? Are these part of the thing? Are they going on? Are they limited edition? Are they? And it's just Bushmills. You don't really know what the fuck's going on with them.
Well,
ever.
Again, the thing, and that like Bushmills will love me backing them up and supporting them in this one, is that Bushmills, just like every other brand in this country, needs to get out across the world into different markets. So I think that if they are entitled and should be entitled to release whiskies at different price points at different places around the world. But you know what gets me, and it really did get me, is because like we got one released in Ireland, but then we got one released in England. Then we got one released in France. I was like, listen, lads, do you know what would be really helpful for me? See if I could get all three at the same time in the one shop. That'd be very helpful. And it just, I couldn't do that. I was lucky enough to, get the first bottles in the Friend at Hand because they were in 2 weeks before release. Boom, well done, guys. And then I was over in, I got the English ones get sent to me via Amazon. I think it was Amazon. And then I got the French ones from some random wee country company. And by the way, they were half the price which I thought they were going to be.
Oh, yes.
How good is that?
I know, but alcohol in France is a different price point than it is here. I'm going to France in November. I haven't been there since before.
Sure, we'll give you a bag and you can fill it up for everybody.
Oh, but no, that's whenever you go into the supermarkets and you walk in and the wine selection, it's like, oh Christ, tries that's not back home. You have a full aisle of wine in every supermarket, and it starts off at like €2 a bottle, and then it goes like the really dear stuff's like €6 a bottle. It's like, oh. And you're eating beautiful food and beautiful wine, and Christ! No, I love France. I really do. It's gorgeous.
As long as you've got lots of €6, in your pockets for all the expensive wines.
For the real dear stuff, like over here it's about £30 a bottle. Over there it's like €6 because if they don't sell it at €6, the French will just burn the whole place to the ground. That's
right. Or they'll get all their tractors and stop.
Stop everything. Stop everything. Spray everything full of shit and then burn everything to bits. But no, so they just riot over the head of you try to take the thing off. But yeah,
what's that? Was that the local shops selling them wine for tenner? Fuck that bollocks! Everyone out there on the roundabouts.
Boom! Off it goes. Yeah, but they are. I like the French.
The French have invented two things. The first one, hair dryers. Second thing. Fucking rebelling, fucking protesting, fucking making sure that people stand up for their rights. You know what I mean? So two things that they've been good at.
Oh, trust me, they've been good at an awful lot more than that. The French are, and see French people, they get a bad rap because every time I've ever met a French person outside of Paris, you meet any French person and you say, "How are you?" And they're smoking a Galois cigarette or drinking, wheat coffee, and they look at you with utter disdain. And then you say, "Rue à gauche." No problem, because you've made some effort to talk to them.
If you don't speak French, they do find you a little bit rude, don't they?
But if you make any effort at all, most of them speak English, and as soon as you speak to them and make a little bit of effort, they're on their nicest pie. I had a great experience in Albert in France. I was standing with a flat tire. I was there with a couple of guys in a flat tire, and I was like, right, what the fuck do you do? And there was this Australian guy just happened to be beside us. He was in a camper van, so he had all his shit with me. He says, I'll get that sorted. Hang on. So he screwed the tire off, and he had a compressor and all this. And this random dude just come up to me, and I was this car park in Albert. And this guy come up, blah, 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 blah. And my French is tiny, je ne comprends pas, no. Sorry. So he started speaking English. I will be returned. So he pissed off, right? And then he come back, and he was carrying 2 First World War bayonets with the sheath off, walking down this car park. I was like, does anybody speak French? What the fuck? hello, bonjour. And he goes down, this, which one? And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because these are 2 bayonets off First World War rifles. Like, I can tell straight away. Michael Caldwell, he would know straight away what I'm talking about. This guy's like this. And I was like, that one? Yeah, no problem. And he started chatting, and this guy that was fixing the tire says, I speak a bit of French. Now, he's Australian, so he doesn't speak any French at all, right? So he turned around, he said, he's looking €30 for that. And I was like, no, I'm all right. I don't need any euro. No. Take. Au revoir. And walked off. So I'm standing with this knife like this in the car park in the middle of France, and a police car drove by. Jordy goes, get that away the fuck. Somebody trying to hide this fucking bayonet. Swear to God. And I ended up donating it to the Ulster Tower in France. But it was just totally random. This guy just moved these 2 bayonets.
I was going to say, I thought he was going to ask you for a duel. I thought that'd be pretty cool.
No, he's literally just come walking down with these 2 bayonets. One was German and one was a British army. And he was walking down with these railed out in front of him. I was like, this fucker's going to chop my head off. That's what I mean.
Bro.
But anyway,
God love him. God love him. But no, the cost of things are really interesting. We've got an event during the festival, which is a cigar tasting night. So I've never run a cigar night, so I'm not running it. It won't be me. But
where's that at? Where's that going to be at?
It's in the second fiddle, and the idea would be that people go along and have a cigar and obviously drink some whiskies that complement it.
Yeah.
But the cost of cigars here apparently are absolutely astronomical. So when the person who's doing the tasting says, "I'm sure we can buy them much cheaper where I'm from, so I'll bring them with me." I'm like, do you know what? That's a smart idea to do.
Yeah.
Which means we get more value for the.
Where's he coming from? Where's he or she? Sorry, where's she?
She from Tampa, so from Florida, which is where it is the cigar capital of the world, apparently. You know,
they're handy to get Cuban cigars into Florida, I would have thought.
More likely. So it's the idea would be that that we're saving, getting some really good ones and saving on the cost here. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to. I don't smoke cigars, but I love the smell of it. It reminds me of old people from my family past. Grandparents who would have taken a good cigar.
I smoked for years. That's one of the things I'm sort of proud of that I stopped. But I've always thought if I was going back to smoking, I would just go on the cigars. I would buy one fat ass cigar every day and just.
I totally agree with you. The aroma of them is absolutely delicious.
It is. Well, it is. There's something like fresh tobacco, a virgin oak cask.
There's a wee bit of tobacco in this Dunville's, there's definitely.
But there is something very appealing about tobacco smoke. Steel tobacco, not so much. But fresh tobacco is a lovely smell. But then,
where did Justin go? Justin just buggered off.
Went for something to eat. I would have thought. I hazard a guess, knowing him as I do, he went away because his mum had sandwiches or something downstairs for his dad.
No. What I do when I go away is I actually share it with your channel, and then your phone pings and you go, I'll just delete that instead of sharing it. But anyway, that's what I do. Doing things behind the scenes.
So, need to talk about Belfast Whiskey Week, let's be honest. That's what we're here to talk.
Do you know what? Let's talk about it. Thank you so much for it. Look, again, love being on this show for no matter what reason, but to talk about the festival is really kind, honestly. The fact that you give me some airtime is really it's really valuable for me. I suppose it's valuable for the festival, and I appreciate it. So thank you. So, what can we expect?
More of the same, different.
Yeah, I think this year, just to really enlighten people where we're at. The festival is online. It's there. It's in, I'm going to say it's in black and white, but it's not. It's in green and grey and lots of other different colours. But it's there. And there's circa 100 events, and they are based on what went well last year, which were good food events. The walking tours were excellent, really well appreciated. We've added some unusual events. There's a poker night, which if you're into poker at all, Dragon Claw are running their own poker night in the Garrick.
Yeah.
I think it's value for money. Like all of our events this year are going from £15 up to no more than £80, and I think that they're really good value for money. The events, and particularly if you can get a day pass, you get the chance for a day pass, or about £100 for the day pass, and pick 4 events in the day. Come and do that. And by the way, the biggest sellers for the festival so far are day passes. So we've seen that everyone seems to want to buy a day pass. I'm going to give you some really random stats. The majority of people who have bought tickets so far are Americans, which I think is which is absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely.
Lots of people from the States coming over. We've then got a bigger amount of people, more amount of people coming from the South this year, which is really, do you know what? That makes me very happy, because you know what? I was frightened that people in the South, just wouldn't make the pilgrimage, and they are. They're starting to come up from the South, and I really appreciate that. So we sold out of Cologne in the space of a heartbeat, which was really, which was obviously going to happen.
Yeah,
that happens every year. I think there's one ticket left for the Redbreast dinner that we have as well, and even then, that we're 4 weeks out from the festival, and tickets like that will sell out anyway. So Redbreast will be done. We've had to establish some events with more tickets, just because dwindled down, and we've added more on.
Where's the Redbreast event at?
It's in Rome, so it's in Rome Restaurant with Ryan Jenkins. They're creating a little bespoke dinner for the Redbreast guys.
Joe there? Joe doing his stuff?
Joe will be doing his thing.
I hope he's not preparing any food, because he take to wear one of them big, them big things over his beard. I don't know whether they would make them long enough
like
to
a
fit
big
over
net.
his beard. I know one of them.
Yeah.
Down to about here somewhere,
like the sausage net that you get, the net you get on a chorizo.
Aye,
something to put that around them.
You'd have to tie it up, I guess, in his head, and then get one a hairnet on it as well.
Listen, those guys have some really interesting events on. I like the way IDL go about their business, because when you speak to Joe about getting involved in the festival, he's creative. He already has in his head, I want to do something strange. So the Redbreast dinner, that's good, because it's a collaborative pairing with a very good restaurant and a very good chef that we have at the moment in the city. But then he's doing Method and Madness. He's doing a painting session with a really good artist in the city, up in East Belfast. He's then got a session with Jimison, who are doing a takeover with Neighbourhood Cafe, and then he's got a Powers history session with Carol Quinn, the archivist from IDL. And that's going to be that'll be in the music hall in the Deer's Head, and you know what? Those kind of events. He's also got a wine and whiskey pairing, so he's going to be looking at the wines for the spots, I think, and looking at the different wine. I think that's really, he's inventive. And as I say, Dragon Claw did a DJ night for us a few years back. They had a club night, and again, Chris has just got mad ideas to do. And a poker night, I thought, was sure, why not? I mean, frickin' why not? Why not do something?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, all that kind of stuff, and that's the one thing about Belfast Whiskey Week. You go to Scotland and you see the big festivals over there, and I mean, they're basically 1-2 day events, and I mean, they have enough distilleries that they could fill. They fill Murrayfield, or it doesn't matter. They can fill wherever, and that's one way of doing things. But the way that Belfast Whiskey Week is doing what they're doing is you've said this to me before numerous times, that whiskey should be sort of acceptable in a sort of European way that we don't necessarily have the history of doing. I mean, and what I mean by that is, in a European way, is they have a drink with their dinner. We drink after, they finish work, and then have a drink with dinner. And it's kind of just a way of doing things, incorporating it in your life.
Yeah.
And you're doing these events with dinner and food, having a bit of poker, going and doing painting stuff and having a whiskey and that. It's just part of the culture, rather than that old, and I hate saying this, but it's a sort of stereotype, but it's kind of based in fact. I wouldn't buy anything more than that, because I can get drunk on a £20 bottle of stuff,
Yeah.
And that's not what quality stuff's about. Let's be honest.
It's not. And do you know what? I think there's just a realization, and I hope the brands get it. There's a realization that whiskey, if it's to succeed, and by the way, look, and I mean the Irish whiskey industry, because we've already seen that the Scottish whiskey industry has succeeded. The Japanese whiskey industry is succeeding really well.
Yeah.
The American bourbon scene and the American whiskey has done so well. I think Irish whiskey, as I say, we're at a very youthful stage, and that's not to include in the same conversation IDL and the Jameson branding and everything else and all what that's done. Everything else is youthful. It's just a youthful stage, and also as whiskey drinkers in Ireland, we're at a youthful stage, and I think that we're just at a point where people, if we can get the right attitude with whiskey, if we can get the right terminology, if we can get the right conversation, if we can get the right demographics to start, drinking whiskey. So the festival is geared to enabling young people, and I mean young people under the age of 40, to start thinking about whiskey as a drink that they can drink. And
that's the three of us. Three of us are not invited then. So we just sit at home then.
That's fine. That's fine. But I think there's a difference. There's a difference between me going to a whiskey tasting and Marty going to a whiskey tasting and Justin going to whiskey tasting. When someone who wants to be introduced to whiskey needs to find a safe space, not to be judged, and for a safe space where whiskey is not necessarily number one on the agenda. It's maybe 2 or 3 on the agenda. And so the food events are really important, because lots of people, everyone freaking eats. So the fact is, we're providing these opportunities to come and eat. I think we're working with Johnny Stevenson. He's based out of the Deer's Head. He's an ex Master chef. He's doing 3 different sessions. He's doing a lovely Tassie barbecue with the guys from Tasmania. That'll be a really interesting.
A load of them are coming over again this year.
They are, yeah. The Tassie brands will be well represented. They've got a couple of events during the festival. I expect them to get the same response they got the last time, which was a real eye opener into how good Tassie whiskey is. It's absolutely exceptional.
Cork Whiskey Festival, best whiskey I tasted the whole night, and I tasted a lot of whiskies that night. Best one was Johnny Holton's, the one that he won the
transportation.
It was just out of this world. Super.
It's not only the fact it's good whiskey. The people who are coming over, Chrissy Lark and Johnny Hall, these people are very, very passionate. They're passionate about what they're doing. They're passionate about their own industry. They're passionate about the whiskey they're doing, but they're passionate about the relationship, the love relationship between Ireland and Tasmania, which is there. The people relationship that they have, the family connections between the people who are producing whiskey on both both islands. That's really important. But no, the Johnny Stevenson will do a Tassie barbecue, which I think will be interesting. He's also doing a Timorous Beastie, kind of Scottish, more Scottish styled, dinner, and he's doing another food pairing later on in the week. So there's working with him, that's going to be interesting. We're doing a whole series of events up at Houlihan's Pantry, and I think their food is exceptional. Not just as exceptional, but it's themed as being Irish food. Yeah. And what does that mean? And how does that work with Irish whiskey? And I'm looking forward to those kind of pairings. But
there's so many. I bring so many tourists to Scotland, to Belfast, Dublin, whatever. And they're looking sort of quintessentially Scottish or quintessentially Irish foods. And it's really fucking hard to send them somewhere. Do you know what I mean? It's really hard because everywhere you go, it's tagliatelle and pizzas. Hang on. They're wanting shepherd's pie. No, we don't do shepherd's pie. Right.
Yeah, the guys up at Houlihan's are all about the boxies, and they're all about the pies and all about everything that makes you feel homely and part of this island. It just feels right. Again, look, doing some interesting collabs. Donuts again. Jesus Christ, we've got 6 bespoke donuts, and they taste unreal. This year is I was blown away by last year's donuts. This year's donuts, it's a whole new level.
I just don't eat. I
came late and I had the donuts.
I don't eat donuts. No.
Poor Marty.
Anything too sweet's not for me. I'm sorry, I don't have a sweet tooth. If you have a bag of dulls, me and you's talking business. Other than that, no.
Whiskey Dulce could be interesting, but we've got the partnerships there with O Donuts. We've got the partnership this year with two chocolatiers. We're working with Jerry again from Chocolate Manor. She's creating 4 bespoke chocolates for our dinner at the end of the festival. But we're working with Daisy's in the city. So Marty from Daisy's is doing some bespoke chocolates again, and we've got Gemma Austin on her Mamo Patisserie are doing some patisseries for us. So really interesting collaborations. And again, I'm concerned about getting whiskey into people without maybe giving them drams of whiskey. So I've got whiskey donuts and I've got whiskey chocolates and I've got whiskey patisseries and whiskey burgers, and if I've got all those kind of things, people can really try whiskey without buying a bottle or buying a glass.
Yeah, but I mean, but the thing about it is, it's getting that past that bit of it's just here for you to get pished on. Do you know what I mean? It's that getting people past that mental attitude, and just exploring things that you can do with it, because it's such a complicated spirit and taste that whenever I'm doing tastings, I do it all the time. I've 3 this week, where you're taking people and you're telling them, people drink you have to drink a Chablis with a turbot fish, right? That's what you have to do.
Okay.
Well, no, you don't. You can there's whiskies that go quite well with that. There's your deep, charcoal grill food. You've whiskies that compare with that, because whiskey's got so many more flavour compounds than wine does. It's about double, maybe more, maybe triple the amount of flavour compounds that a whiskey has. So why can't whiskey go with food? Why can't you just order a steak and say, "Oh, I'll take a whiskey with it," or even a salad? I'll have a whiskey with a salad. But it's getting people past that and just having it as a sort of something that you can sort of naturally have without going overboard. You don't have to get drunk every time you open a whiskey,
And no, definitely not. And I think that we've kind of planned the whiskey week around sensible drinking. So again, if you're here for 12 hours, I mean, if you come at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and you leave at 12 o'clock at night, you'll have whiskies. Of course, you'll have lots of whiskies, but you're going to have it in moderation, and it's going to be it's done in a controlled environment. And even if you came along, the 3 big events that we have this year, so we have an exposition event again. That event will see, we'll guarantee we're going to see over 500 participants at that event. There's a lot of people coming to that show. Our cocktail event, which is a cocktail takeover at Trade Market, that event itself is half the tickets are sold for that already, which I thought was really interesting. I didn't think they would sell as quickly, but they are. And by the way, I think that'll probably be the one that sells out quicker than anything else. And then we're doing
Paul, what do you think of Michael from Trade Market being the nighttime czar? What do you think?
No, that's Michael from Common Market.
Common Market, that's right.
And I will come on to that. It's a good question. Okay, I'll quickly answer that. Michael, I know Michael Stewart. I'm a massive fan of Michael Stewart, and he knows this. But I tell you what, you couldn't have anyone else, I don't think, in the industry who's had that amount of experience. Want to take the job as quickly as he did. Someone who is genuinely buzzing to get involved, to make it happen.
I'm just wondering I just want to know what his remit is. If I'm honest, I'm not 100% sure what the remit of the whole thing is.
No, the remit is to try and bring some sort of clout amongst
the nighttime economy. Yes,
people who make the decision about the nighttime economy. So that he's representing quite specifically the bid areas, which is all the businesses in the city centre and the Linen Quarter and the Cathedral Quarter. He's representing them all. That's his priority now, is to represent all those businesses and say, listen, council, Department for Infrastructure, Department for Transport, policing, to really speak to these people and say, listen, we need to make sure that we can get people in and out of the city safely. We make sure that we've got venues that are open at the appropriate times. Not that they have to be open 24/7 or they have to be open till early hours, but you have to have them all, open at the right kind of time to make sure that when someone leaves somewhere, that they've got the ability to go somewhere else, and if they don't have somewhere to go to, they can go home. and they should be able to go home safely. And everyone who works in those establishments, make sure they get home safely.
Well, the
there's
thing
a
is,
whole agreement there for him.
Yeah, I mean, basically, he's going to be acting like a shop steward for the hospitality businesses in Belfast for the night.
Big time.
But it is. There's no joined up thinking with some of it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I've complained. He's heard me, I don't know, many times. You come up on the Enterprise from Dublin, get to Lanyon station, no longer called Central Station because they realised that Central to fuck all. Right, but anyway, you get up to Lanyon Station.
True.
There's 3 lines run out of it, Paul. 3 lines.
Yeah.
Right. The train I need to come down to Larne to get home leaves 5 minutes before the Enterprise gets in.
Yes. Mate,
That's
it's
annoying.
it's mind-boggling.
Unbelievable.
And you know what? It's not just... look, I have to be careful. I have to be careful how I say this, right? But you know, because I sit on other little committees within the city, and I advocate. So I'm the co-convener for the Food and Drink Network within the city, and that's quite specific. That's quite a specific role where I champion the food and drink industry in city centre within the council, and you know, make sure, and we're on the agenda to ensure that tourism, you know, looks at specifically food and drink as a tourist, you know, part of everything that goes on. If it's budget allocations or if it's looking at marketing campaigns, that they think food and drink before they think anything else about tourism for the city. And so I need to be careful how I put this, but I'm going to say it quite clearly. The decision makers have been neglectful of the city, have been neglectful of the nighttime economy, have been neglectful of the tourist economy, have been neglectful of the food and drink tourist economy.
Well,
by the way, which costs in millions and millions of pounds per year.
Look at a bloody Sunday in Belfast. Most of the places shut by about 8 o'clock.
Oh, 100%.
It's like, what is going on here?
Look, Willie Jack came up with a good statement recently, and you know I'm a massive fan of Willie Jack. So, like, I mean, I'm not going to say anything negative. I'm pure with him. Like, I'm a supporter of what he said. He said, "Look, I'm going to shut my premises early." Yeah. I said, "Look, I get it, because if you cannot get your staff to go home safely, if there's no taxis, there's no public transport, if you cannot get them home safe, then how can you stand by employing people to do it? How can you stand by a city that is neglecting its people? And it's neglecting its people, it's neglecting its economy, it's neglecting businesses. It's not being run well. So that needs to change. Whether or not they'd like me to say that, they'll not like Michael Stewart saying it, but he will say it. And other people will say it. But do you know what? The biggest thing is that Belfast is phenomenal. This is the problem.
No,
Belfast is absolutely
phenomenal.
Unreal. And the businesses and the actual businesses within the city, the people within the city, they all want it to happen. They all want things to prosper. And there's no one more suited to the job than Michael Stewart. So to answer that question, Justin, what do I think? Superb. Michael will do a great job, and I'm glad that he's in there. So I'll finish on my other one, which I was talking about, which was the third big event that we have this year, which is a complete change. So this is something brand new for the festival. Indeed, we're taking over a little part of Belfast. We're going up to Ballyhackamore, a suburb, urban kind of landscape. We're going up to Ballyhackamore, which is on the glider route. If anyone wants to get the glider route one.
Well, there's Declan Boyle saying went to the expo last year and could not get a taxi for an hour.
See, we need to change that. You know. But you know, we're up in Ballyhackamore for 6 hours on the Saturday at the end of the festival, and it's really it's a take on what my plan is for the festival going forward. Belfast Whiskey Week is a festival. It's 9 days long, and it's a festival. It's not a one-stop exhibition. It's a festival. And how do we make it a festival? How do I get the festival to interact with the city, and how do I get the city to interact with the festival? And I think that Ballyhackamore is a pilot for the festival, and it's the idea that I take 6 hours and do a bespoke program, and this will be family friendly. So there's a whole series and a whole part of the festival which is geared towards families in the area. Super. And there's live entertainment and food and theatre and music. All of that exists for families. And if you're an adult and you want to get involved with some whiskey, then there's a ticket price and you can come upstairs and there's lots of things to do: master classes, cocktail making, adult only comedy, storytelling, those kind of things.
Yeah.
But the idea is to emulate that. If this works this year, and I think it will, because we've got some really good partners up with Hearth, and we've got Pure Irish, the Sam McDonald that you talk about. We've got Eastside partnership up there who are going to, we're going to do some work with over the next year. And then lots of little businesses. When you involve local businesses and when you want them to work together, and you can see that you're providing someone from the community, I think this will work here, and we'll do something next year. The plan is I want to do something in North Belfast, I want to do something in West Belfast, and I want to kind of focus on little neighbourhood areas, and we're calling these whiskey neighbourhoods. Whiskey neighbourhoods where you can go out there and meet people and have a bit of fun and have a little drink and be in a safe environment, but be close to your house. So if you're in those areas, you're in there for a couple of hours.
I mean, it's just nice that you can get the small guys a bit of attention on, because there's places in Belfast. Everybody does the same things. Okay, I mean the Cathedral Quarter. You mentioned Willie Jack. A guy came in one time, and the guy obviously had never met him before, and the guy came in to offer him advertising space on his Instagram, where he had like 3 million followers, and he says, I'll promote you, and I'll do it cheap, and I'll get you so many hits, and blah 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 blah. And Willie was sitting drinking a coffee, and Willie turned around and says to him, "Son, I don't want any more people coming here. I've enough." And the guy was like, the head was blowing. This doesn't happen in any other place. But I mean, there's certain places that are kind of at saturation. I mean, the Cathedral Quarter doesn't really need any more people.
Yeah, so well, I think Willie talks about the fact that he doesn't want it to become, he doesn't want it to become a Temple Bar, and I think I understand that, because as frequenting Dublin as I have done in the past, and I get to see what Temple Bar is all about, and I don't necessarily want that for Belfast anyway. I think Belfast is enough. Look, we collaborate with lots of different places. So look, the collaborations this year: Ulster Sports Club, Second Fiddle, John Hewitt. We've got a couple of little pop-ups in John Hewitt, which I think will be really nice. Which is it's around the Cathedral Quarter. So where do we step away from that? Well, we go to Morning Star. Now, if you've never had food in Morning Star, again, I'm going to say something. One of the most hidden gems for food in the city.
Really
hidden
good.
gem.
Really good.
Lovely.
And
sausages are excellent.
And we're doing great food, and we're doing great whiskey pairings in with those guys. And again, that's a family business. Family, by the way, and if people don't know this, Morning Star are owned by farmers, and the farmers, it's all their food. It's great fun.
It's all their stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all their stuff, and it's coming into the bar, it's coming into the restaurant. It's great food.
So but this is never advertised. They never.
I'm telling you, I'm advertising for them. Let's fucking make it happen, because Morning Star is great crack and great food. But then look, heading out of town, doing things a little bit different, going out to East Belfast, going out to the bottom of the Falls Road for St Comgall's for the expo, going to different places just to be. Let's be honest, Belfast is a big city, but it's also a small city. You can get around very quickly.
It's not a big city. Let's be honest, it's a big city.
But it's a big city. Hold on, it's bigger than that Newry that we have, and it's bigger than Derry.
Lisburn. Lisburn was the only city in the world without a hotel in it.
But what have we got? What have we got? We've got Cork, and we've got Dublin, and we've got Belfast. And if we're talking about our three big cities, then we've got Derry, and then we've got Derry.
That's
and I think that Ireland isn't blessed with huge big cities. It's blessed with some big cities, and that's it. And I think we have to make. What I'm saying is, you can move around Belfast because of the glider, because of other other buses, but you can move around walking from one part of the city to the other quite quickly.
Yeah.
So when we're doing something at Trade Market, that's out towards Queens, and Queens isn't too far away either. So when we're up there for our dinner at the Great Hall, we're still in the city. But if we're heading out to Ballyhackamore and out to Hearth and those kind of venues, again, it's not far away. It's a little bus ride, and people can, it's accessible. But look, again, if there's one thing that the festival has to get across, is it's accessible price wise. It's accessible because the types of events are not They're not all straight up whiskey tastings, although they are for the enthusiast, for the whiskey drinker.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, there's some epic tastings. I would like to think that people look at the program and think, well, I would like to taste whiskey through the decades. I'd like to go and try some, whiskies that are aged 21 years and older. I'd like to go and try some old pot stills. I'd like to go and try, different master classes that are on. So if it's Glens of Antrim's master class, that you go and try something there. If you want to go and to do some of
it also gives you an idea of what these guys are going to be doing going forward. Because you get the idea of what the ethos behind their products.
You do, and look, all these we're blessed now. As I said, look, we've got distilleries coming. Belfast just is a hub. It's a whiskey hub, really. I mean, I can use that word more than other people can use it. Whiskey hub is Belfast, because you can go from Belfast to Bushmills, which you do. You can go to you can go to Glens of Antrim, you could go to Limavady, you could easily go to Copeland, and you can go to Kirkcudbright. You can go down to Warren Point. You can go to all these places. You can, because Belfast has an infrastructure, and that's really important. It has that. I mean, look, big events that I really want people to think about, and they are events which are quite smart. They're turned on. Eccleville's Distillery Day, which will just blow people's minds. The Two Stacks distillery event at their shed, the big massive warehouse shed. There's a party at their gaff. Then you've got Copeland are doing a distillery day, which I think will just be. Do you know what? If you've not been to Copeland, and people like Copeland's whiskey is going to get released very soon. Like, Copeland's whiskey is 4+ years old, and chocolate malt is superb. They're double distilled malts, unreal. And I think that people need to go and see what their little tiny distillery is like, and what the plans are for the future. Because what Gareth and his team are doing is superb. I'm actually a fan of what's going on there. So the three big events are Eccleville and Copeland and Two Stacks, but then you've got Titanic at night. So we've got a really interesting Titanic at night event. And again, they never disappoint. The Titanic distillery looks superb at night time.
I was there on Thursday, and kind of to add what you're saying, I had a group of guys up. They were actually from another distillery in the south. I'll not tell you who it was, but I brought them up. But
I saw some posts.
Well, I never posted them, but they come up and they wanted to do the two distilleries in Belfast. And this is the day that I put together for them. Right? They went and done McConnell's at noon. They came out of there, went and had lunch, beautiful lunch. Then went from there over to the Friend at Hand. Took them in. They had a tour in the Friend at Hand. Were absolutely blown away by it. Then overdid Titanic and got a really nice tour in there, all within the space of, little over half a day. That done the whole lot of it. And they were like, it was just an amazing day. Amazing.
Yeah.
Fabulous. And it's like, they did this in half a day, from noon basically to 5:30, and that was that done. And it was like boom, 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 and it wasn't really rushed. It was well paced out, and it was just a fabulous day for them, and it worked really, really well. And
do you know what? I think because we have that, and look, the offering is quite simple. Specifically in the day passes, if you come up, you can book a Titanic tour, or you can book a McConnell's tour. You can book a walk-in tour. Those early sessions, the 12 to 3 and the 3 to 6, have all those kind of options where you're not overly drinking. You're going out and experiencing the city. So you're walking around getting history. You're going to the two on-site distilleries. You're getting that chance, some sensory events with the guys that at Sensorium. You've got, I think, those 2 early sessions every day, 12 to 3, 3 to 6, you should experience the city, and you should experience those distilleries, because they are on our freaking doorstep. So if you're making the pilgrimage to Belfast, if you're making the effort, go and see McConnell's, go and see Titanic, because you know what, they are on your doorstep. And when you get the chance to go to Newry, and when you get the chance to go to Ecklinville, when you get the chance to go to Copeland, we're taking you out of the city. But I mean, how many times, if you're flying over from the States, if you're coming up from Dublin,
Are you
how
going
many
to get
times,
that far? Yes.
you're not going to, but
Absolutely.
your tickets included a bus trip out. You know, you're out there for 6 hours. You know, you're getting treated like a king. No, I genuinely do mean this. When you go to those distilleries, man, they just want to make you feel special. Like they are, like, you know, they want to give you good food, good whiskey, good times. No, I mean, you know, you can't knock them, like, you know.
Yeah. No, but right, dates. When do
Well,
you start?
it's the 19th of July to the 27th of July, and
19th to the 27th. By the way, just declare my interest in it. I'm doing the walking tours. I'm doing tastings, but Paul is kind of the kind of guy who just releases this stuff, doesn't really tell me what I'm doing, and it's
come on.
like,
You-
at
You've
some point I'll find out, kind of thing,
What are
you know.
what are your three Is it 2 or 3 tastings you've got to do as well? I mean, look,
Aye.
one of them you're like you're co-hosting, so it means that you just need to be there for the love and the understanding of what's going on.
That'll
So
be fine.
we've got an American. So Cassandra's coming over. She's doing an American masterclass, so looking at some really good American whiskies with some really good American style food. So we're in the Morning Star for that one.
We get fed, Justin. I get
You,
fed.
yeah, you get fed.
I
a
get
big,
fed,
good.
Justin.
Oh no, I'll need to come and take pictures of that. I'll need to come and take pictures of that.
But see when you do like this is an interesting one. See when you do a master class. I've been discussing this with loads of people more recently now, and it's a case of like I do whiskey tastings, but I think they're just good crack. I mean, people might tell me they're good crack, and I get a bit of a big head from that. That's okay, but I would never have thought I've ever done a master class. I don't think. Now, a master class for me is someone who has real knowledge of the subject and real knowledge of the whiskies.
Yeah.
So, like, I have titled. I think that one's the only one that's really titled as a masterclass because this
That's the
person,
bourbon masterclass, isn't
yeah,
it?
so she has a real knowledge of bourbons and a
Well,
real knowledge of those whiskies, and I'm like,
I did a whiskey
okay.
tour recently, and it was one of the people there. I'll not mention their name, but one of the people there is possible. I reckon that she's in the top one blenders in the world, right?
Okay.
And the guy was doing the taste. What notes are people getting? And the whole table just looking around, going, "Well, I'm saying fuck all."
until she says something.
If he or she might have let slip, but he or she may have said something. But I'm sitting there going, "Buddy, you're asking. This is the wrong room to be asking that." Okay, in terms of tasting notes.
Do you know what?
But the thing is, but yourself, whenever you're doing these tastings, you don't have to don't put things in people's heads. You
Definitely
just
not.
let them, because it's people
I
just
freaking
go.
hate it. I hate it, and people who come to my tastings know this. Like I do not, and I hate to lead on the tasting note itself. And I think it's quite important because it's all about the discussion and it's about personal perspective. And I think that people need that space, and again, it's a safe space to do it. We shouldn't be pretentious about it.
No,
Like I know
absolutely
I
not.
know what I taste. Like I know how I taste it. I know why I taste it. I know what it's about. I just don't need to impart all of that, and I certainly don't need to impose it. There's a difference.
And you certainly don't need to criticize people for
Fuck
telling
Jesus,
you.
by Mario, but we've heard that, haven't we?
Absolutely.
I've been in rooms where I've heard people going, "It's not that." You're talking shit.
Yeah.
Which is very unfortunate. I think one of the wee, events that we have during the festival, we've got a women only panel, which is a really interesting panel. That's in collaboration with Angel Share. So Annie Bethel, who is running that event, has a lovely panel of people who genuinely have made massive impact in the Irish whiskey scene, and specifically are female, and specifically trying to encourage women into the industry, but at the same time encouraging people to drink whiskey. And I think that that panel will include Helma Holland. It includes some ambassadors as well, and I think that seeing events like that in the festival, to me, it's just really interesting. People like Carol Quinn coming and doing a history talk about powers and drinking powers at the same time. So we're getting both. We're getting knowledge and we're also getting liquid. When we're doing something with Helen and we're doing something with females within the industry, we're learning about why women have made such an impact and the differences they've made.
And surprisingly enough, it's been overshadowed by men deciding that they'll take the credit for all the stuff the women did.
And that just needs to be
absolutely.
That needs to fuck off. Like the whiskey festival wants to create these safe spaces, but we've said, look, and Annie has, she's gone on her own and created this female only, self-determined, non-binary, whiskey group within Belfast, and I think whiskey club within Belfast, and that's great. And she wants to lead on this discussion, which I think is where that discussion is. It's to talk about women and really about how women have, been able to shape the industry. It's really important. And again, we've lost a lot of that history. People haven't really picked up on it. They've not spoken about it as much as they should have. And we know the reasons why, Marty. We know the reasons why.
We do.
We're in a male-dominated industry, which the perception and the advertising perception is that it's a men's drink. It's an old man's drink. It's a white man like yourself who can afford it drink. And I think that needs to change. And I think that, again, having sessions which are £15 entry sessions to come and experience the whiskey, to say that we are genuinely, we target quite specifically a younger demographic. We want to target women into drinking whiskey. I think the festival is making a very fucking clear stance of what it expects of where the industry should be. And I think that I can hold my head up and I can say that's what I'm doing, because that's what I believe in. Well, what the people I'm working with believe in, I
did a tasting last night, and a guy brought his girlfriend along, and she was drinking gin and tonic, I think it was, something like that. And I was going down, you go around and you ask, what do you think of that whiskey, blah, blah, blah. And the guy, he turned around and says, it's okay, dead on. His girlfriend went, well, I tried it and I thought it wasn't too bad. I said, you see, whenever I hear those words, somebody who doesn't drink whiskey, because in their head it's like, oh, this is it's a man's drink, blah blah blah, and the wee female can't drink it and all this kind of that bullshitty fucking thing. It does my head in. And she went, I quite like that. And I said, that is the magic words I love at a whiskey tasting. When someone comes in, and I hate saying this, but a lot of the stuff that I do, half the people that are going on it don't really want to be there to start with.
Yeah.
Because, and I hate saying this, but it's normally he's bought it thinking he's the whiskey expert, and she gets dragged along because she doesn't drink whiskey. Because anyway, and then when you're doing the tasting and you're kind of talking people through it and saying, look, try this, and this is pairs with this and this food, and here's something going, that really works. That really works. That's really nice. And you're like, excellent. Just I love it. I really, really love doing that.
But it's a buzz, and it's a feeling. Like, I think Annie's like one of those women who you genuinely think, right, well, this is what it's about, because Annie, for me, she's about to get married. Now, she gets married during the festival, which is amazing. She's going to get married during the Whiskey Week. And she's doing things through the Whiskey Week, which I think is great also. But she's helping the Nomads guys. So there's two lads in Belfast who run their own whiskey tastings. And those Nomads guys are running a fantastic food collaboration with Stereo out in East Belfast. And Annie's helping with those guys. But like, Annie's getting married, and she's getting married to a guy who doesn't necessarily drink whiskey. And I think he does drink whiskey, but he's not the whiskey drinker. She is, quite specifically. Yeah. And I think that we have women, and we've had women within our whiskey club in Belfast who are whiskey drinkers before their partners, or indeed of equal standing, where they want to come and drink the whiskey as much as they do. And I think that there is a sea change, and I like to see it. I'm loving it. I'm not an influencer. Amount of times I will tell you this, Marty, and I hope that people realize this. I'm not an influencer. There might be things I might influence people by, but that's not It's not my role. I don't get paid to run a freaking TikTok account or whatever bollocks that is. I get to, you know what I do? Like, I enjoy meeting people, talking to people, infusing people.
The same.
And I got speaking to, there was a lady who came and did one of our donut tastings. I might have said this to you personally before, but a lady came to our donut tasting, and I sat down the box of 6 donuts, and these are they're unreal donuts, right? No offense, they're great. But I put the donuts in front of them, and she just looked at the donuts, and her eyes were like big and smiles and everything else. And I was like, she is buzzing for this. This is class, right? And then I came round and I put the whiskies in front of her, and her face kind of just dropped a wee bit. And I was like, "Are you okay?" And she was like, "I don't drink whiskey." And I was like, "Right." She said, she said, "I thought I was here for the donut tasting." And I was like, "No, it's a whiskey and donut pairing. We're doing both." And she was like, and I said, "Look, if you don't want to drink the whiskey, don't worry about it. Just eat the donuts. You'll enjoy it." And then at the end of the tasting, she said to me, she drank the whiskeys. And at the end of the tasting, she went, "I really enjoyed that. First time I ever had whiskey. First time." And I was like, "That's really good." And then I remember she messaged me then, Marty, and she said, "Look, later on," she says, "I'm out on a tour with Marty. I'm doing a walking tour with Marty." And then she messaged me later on saying, "I have to go home early. I'm fucked." You know, I was like, right.
It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault.
But you know, from that, she came within the course of a year. She was involved in other tastings. She came along to other events. She even went to another whiskey festival in the south. And I think, to be honest, you know, she went to Cork. And I think that the thing here is that I'm not an influencer, but the festival influenced that lady. That I didn't do it personally, I don't think, but I think she was influenced by the way in which the festival allowed her to be involved and was designed for that purpose. And
I'm not judgmental. Not judgmental about the whole thing.
No, Jesus Christ! And it's there to be drunk. Whiskey's there to be drunk. I believe in they should not sit on shelves all their lives. They should be opened. Bottles need to be cracked. We need to be tasting this stuff. It needs to be drunk and shared, and very much shared amongst everyone. You know, your friends, your peers. Everyone gets a chance of it. And I do think you said it earlier on. There must be a whiskey for everyone. There just must be, because this idea that you have, like, I like lime and I like lemon, right?
Yeah.
But I know people who detest lime and lemon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, that's fine. So, like, but they might like strawberry and they might like, you know, blackberry. And I'm like, these flavors, I mean, everyone likes a different flavor. And when it comes to wine, everyone has preferential wines. And I think when it comes to whiskey, there's so many flavor profiles that it'd be hard not to find one that works for someone.
I always tell people the same thing. If you don't like something, that's fine. If you do like it, that's fine as well. I don't like cucumber. I can't stand it. It's disgusting. That's my choice. I don't judge people who like cucumber. It's not the shop that sold its fault. It's not the person that bought its fault. The guy who grows the cucumber, good on him. I just don't like it. It's an opinion, and opinions aren't wrong. Opinions aren't wrong. Facts are wrong. Opinions aren't. So if you just don't like something, that's fine. If you think that's better than it, I did the tasting last night. The pot stills up with Stanley in the Go Sun.
Yes,
and it was Hench, 2 Stacks, Porridge Jones Lane, and Blue Spot.
Oh, yummy!
And it was a really nice tasting, And there was a few people turned around and went, I still think Hench was the nicest one I had. And I was like, oh, fine, no problem. And then a couple of ones were going, I really like the it was nice and oily, that 2 Stacks one. It was nice oily. There on, that's fine. Then you go over and Porridge John Lane. Oh, it's a bit spicy, but I really like that. You know, and it's that whole thing. They were all totally different, but the same sort of family of whiskies. But people just went, I like that one, I like that one, I like that one. Blue Spot was probably the one that outshined everybody. Once everybody got a touch of water on it. But, you know, I mean, it's...
For 7 years old, it's powerful stuff.
It's powerful stuff. But, I mean, the thing is, it's just this idea that, oh, I'll tell you what you need to think. I'll tell you what you need to do. And this is right and that's wrong. No, I mean, it just... The complexity of whiskey is just a totally different thing than others. It really is. And
no, definitely. And look, there's a lot of whiskies just now winning awards outside of their categories, or like outside of the comfort zone categories, and they're winning these awards around the world. And do you know what? It's to me, some people say, "Oh, I don't believe in wars," blah blah, and that's fine, and I can understand that. But see, sometimes it actually means that someone has been brave enough to taste that against another one, and they've made a judgment on it. And sometimes I think that when we do tastings, that are blind, you get the raw kind of emotion from someone drinking it. You get this like automatically, it's a little face that you get. It's a kind of wee face. And they kind of wince a little bit, or they don't wince, or that's like pleasantly surprised. So you get that emotion, like very raw emotion when it's a blind tasting. And then you go on and you talk about the flavor profile, and then you go on and talk about then what it is. And surprising sometimes when people drink something and they're like, "Oh, I didn't think I would enjoy that." Well, you didn't think you would enjoy that if you maybe had a preconception of the name, maybe the preconception of where it came from. I think in this country we're still bogged down with their source whiskies. Who gives a shit? I say who gives a shit. You can give a shit, but let's be honest. Whiskey is whiskey at the moment, and if you're going to drink a whiskey, if you're going to pay £35 for something, you want it to taste good. So if you're going to pay £35, it doesn't matter if it came from the distillery or a distillery. Does it matter what label's on it? Probably not. Now, I will say that one of the things that the festival is trying to push is an idea that people go back, and I'm a massive fan of cask strength whiskies. Everyone would know this, and I am a fan. But I'm also a fan of understanding the brands and the distilleries that we have core product. And core product needs to be drunk. And core product, by the way, in the main, is freaking good.
Yeah. If you're sitting with your mates having a couple of drinks, you pull out the good stuff, the start of the night, have a couple of them, a couple of really nice whiskies. Yeah, no. And you can do all the bullshit about, it's vanilla on a sunny side and all that shit, right? You can do all that, get that out of the way. And then what you do is you pull out bottles of Black Bush, bottles of Jameson, and then get pissed and enjoy your night. That's how that should work. Yeah. Invariably, a lot of the time it works the other way because people arrive and you go, and then you pull out your good stuff and it's totally wasted on people. It's totally
that is a sad argument because that we have got to that stage, and I feel sorry for the smaller brands, right? Because there's a lot of small brands going to come through, and they're going to come through and see if they don't have that continuous new thing, if they don't have that continuous new product, if they don't have that, where's your next cask strength? What's your EX? Is your Oloroso? Is it your freaking Port? Is it your Madeira? If you don't have that, then people might just fucking forget you, or they might just not care about you. And my problem here is that actually, there needs to be a time when you've got core product, and I think that you've got a product that defines you, it talks about you, it says something about you. But if people are more concerned about the next thing, the new thing, that continues, the what's coming, I kind of feel sorry for those brands when they get to that stage and they can't sell their core product, because actually their core product is overshadowed by.
That's what you keep the lights on. That's what you keep the lights on.
Yeah, well, look, I mean,
everything else should be a show pony. Yeah,
Jameson's good, yes. Jameson Power's Gold label for the value. 30 quid a bottle. No, £23, £25 a bottle, depending on
the bottle's crap. The bottle, go back to the old fucking bottle. Go back to the old bottle, right? But the whiskey itself, no problem.
So, value for money. Black Bush, value for money.
Sheehan Foley's just put up. He just put up. Probably offend people. I'm not that keen on Redbreast, but I really love Black Bush. Sheehan, Black Bush is, honest to God, the best value whiskey in the world. I'll argue that with anybody.
It's so good. It's so good. You know what? It's so good. And I think that some people just... I hope the festival does that. I hope the festival still shows that there's good, really good whiskey, and it comes to you, and you might not expect it, that it comes within those core bottlings. And I tell you what really... And it kind of... What sparked me into thinking like this is... I've done a lot of tastings, Mark. I don't know how many tastings I've done. I really don't. But do you know what? I've got to the stage where I'm looking at, and more predominantly it's been Scottish whiskies, but I've been looking at the core products of all of these different distilleries across Ireland and Scotland, and I'm looking at them and I'm going, what makes them so good? Why is core whiskey, why is it so good? And there's some distilleries out there, if you drank their core product, you'd save a lot more money. And I'm telling you this for a fact, you'd save a lot more money. you would have an enjoyable experience. Do you know what I mean? And you would actually start to, you know, you would start to realise that, you know, those whiskies are what then makes, when you get the chance to drink, you know, something like that Dunville's, when you get the chance to drink that, right?
Yeah.
That then becomes super special. And it becomes super special because actually you've been drinking really good 16-year-old Fetter Cairn.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck me. You know, unreal. You know, Jane London. Kilcoman. Any of their any of their core product.
Well,
You know,
put it like this, I haven't tried this yet, but I'll open it on Thursday.
It's apparently meant to be great.
Well, come down on Thursday, and I'll let you have a sample.
No, I'm coming. I'm coming on Thursday. Calm yourself. I'm coming on Thursday. There's I say I'm coming on Thursday. There's a couple of things on. I have to decide what I'm doing with one of my children on Thursday, but I'm doing something. You know what I mean?
We'll bring the way in. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. We'll bring the way in down. We'll make sure they're looked after. Do we know? Don't worry, it's a perfectly safe environment. Bring the way down.
He won't be looking after anybody's weigh-ins.
Oh,
Justin won't be looking after anyone.
Where did you go?
Don't ask. There's probably a burger was delivered.
Oh, that's priceless.
Oh no! Listen.
Yes.
We're going to let you go, Wild Son. I might see you on Thursday night then.
No, I will. And just before I go, I want to just say thank you, because look, we have two major sponsors for the festivals. I'd like to say thank you to AB and ABL, which are part of the Brown and Brown group, which are insurance brokers. I'd like to say thank you to them. They're a major sponsor. And then we are partnered up with, and again, sponsored by Whiskey Club NI, and our glass provider, Urban Bar. Okay, so thanks very much to them for the glasses. Sirac Ice for the ice that they're going to be doing during the cocktail events, and 3 Cents for their mixers. And look, Visit Belfast and Tourism and I have been pushing the event, which I think is really important. It's just nice to see those people coming on board and seeing how important the festival is, and I really appreciate that. So thanks very much to those guys. But look, it's a festival where I cannot mention everybody, because it would take me 4, 5, 6 hours to talk about everybody that's involved. The amount of people who are involved, like you don't see it, and there's so many people now getting behind the festival. They're getting on board, and again, I'm very lucky that that's happening. And I want people to come and experience it and have fun. So 2 things I really want to get across, and this is super important. I'm so sorry for keeping you going, Justin, but I want to say, look, I did an event at Christmas time. We did like 12 days of Christmas bollocks. There's most people have got their prizes. I went and hand delivered certain things, which was really cool. Like hand delivering bottles of whiskey, hand delivering prizes that they won. But there's still people that will need to collect during the festival. There's a lot of tea cakes to collect. And there's a couple of people still need to get some vouchers from me.
I think I have a voucher and a bottle to lift from you.
Exactly. So some people have been proactive. They've contacted me. I've given them the little voucher codes. If I've not done that yet, you will get a voucher code this week, and you must just use it. Please, guys, use it. And I suppose the other thing is, look, that if you're part of a whiskey club or society, and you're watching this and you want to come to the festival, contact the runners, the organisers, the controllers of those societies in Ireland and Scotland and in England. Anyway. Contact them, and they have codes that they can use for the festival, because it's something I want to ensure that all of the different societies and clubs have access to the festival. So it's good to see people come from the Irish Whiskey Society, Low Whiskey Society. People come from different parts.
Lowry's coming up from the Cork Whiskey Society, of course.
Oh, of course he will be, 100%, because he absolutely loves this place, and he's doing some live blogging, and fair play to him. Like,
he's such a nice guy. He's such a cool guy. Laurie O'Dwyer. He's such a nice guy. Anyway, right.
Remember to comment, like, and share. We're live 10 p.m. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Telegram, Twitch, wherever you get your podcast from. Take it easy, Paul.
Good night. Thank you.
Cheers. Night.
See you there.